Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Duty's Daggers. We have an unboxing today. Um, I'm also using a new microphone. I don't know if you'll be able to really tell a difference, but my old one, I was starting to hear some fuzzies in the background. You might have noticed that in my last video. So I decided to upgrade. And also, I got a green screen and some lighting for the live streams. So if you guys haven't checked out my live streams yet, they've become really much more fun now since I have a green screen. We can do all kinds of crazy stuff. I go live on YouTube Tuesday and Friday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific time. So if you haven't checked them out, stop by on Friday, 6 o'clock Pacific time, and check it out. So, I've been waiting for this box since Black Friday. It's really crazy, man. I ordered this knife on Black Friday, and it finally just arrived. It's from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and apparently they had a warehouse glitch, is what they said when I emailed them. So, man, finally, happy to finally get it. So let's see. Okay. And it's a Hogue. Hopefully you didn't just see my address. I don't think you did. And and a little Kershaw there. So for whatever reason, when I ordered this knife, it came with this Kershaw Cinder. And I'm not exactly sure why. It must have been just a promotional thing. But this is actually a Rick Hinderer design. A Rick Hinderer collaboration with Kershaw, which is pretty interesting. I didn't know until recently that he actually has a couple collaborations with Kershaw. If I could get it out, here we go. So yeah, it's just a really cheap little guy. Kind of interesting. You got a bottle opener. You can't flick it, that's for sure. Yeah, kind of just a little tiny weeny little knife for your keychain or whatever you want to use it for. So, not complaining. It was free, so I'll take it. So the Hogue. I've owned only a few Hogues over the last couple years, but never this one. This is the Deka, very popular Hogue model, and this particular version is in Magna Cut. It's the Hogue Deka in Magna Cut, which I'm excited about because I've never experienced Magna Cut before. I'm really excited to check it out. Here we go. Tiny little pouch. I guess you don't need it to be big. And here she is. All right. Let's take it in here for a second. If you hear noise in the background, that's my dog destroying the box. So, deep carry pocket clip. From what I hear, that was a more recent addition. They didn't always have a deep carry pocket clip on this knife. I'm glad that it does now. It's super duper light. Very light. These are polymer handles, which I'm not a real big fan of. I will most likely end up replacing those with some aluminum ones, or maybe micarta or something. Super duper light. So let's flick this baby. All right, yeah. So what really drew me to this knife was this kind of wicked Wharncliffe blade here. Just kind of a unique Wharncliffe because it's a compound grind. You have, well, yeah, it's thicker up here. So you can see this line right here. And that's what's called a compound grind. So there's two different types of grinds on this knife. They're both flat grinds, I believe. I think they're both. This might be hollow back here, actually. I think it is. Yeah, it's hollow ground back here. It's not a super aggressive hollow grind, but it feels like it is hollow. And then up here, it's a little bit thicker. So I guess the reason for that would be, when you need to slice, you would use this kind of area, and then this type of towards the tip of the blade for more utility cuts. I just think it looks cool. That's a cool looking blade, man. You can see right there it says Magna Cut. Edge from factory, very, very nice. Very nice. I like the stonewashing on the blade too. It's a pretty good looking stonewash. Let's try this. Okay, yeah. Blade is centered. Lockup is solid. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. That's really not bad. One of my buddies, Diener, was telling me he got one and it was off center. So I'm happy to see that mine is not. He must have just got a funky one, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Hang on, let me take this away from my dog. He's just gonna keep going. You have to chew. All right. So the action is better than I thought it would be, honestly. You know, you pull down the axis lock here. It's not, they don't call it the axis lock, but it's the same concept. They call it the able lock, but you know, it's just these two tabs on either side. You pull it back to close the knife, like on you know, most Benchmade knives. But you pull it back and the blade just falls real easily right down. So that's great. You know, there's no detent ball on this, so it's not a traditional detent. So you don't get that super crisp breakaway like you would on a knife with a detent. You know, you don't get that initial like pop, but it does actually thumb flick pretty darn well. You know, it feels a little mushy, but you know, all axis locks, you know, axis lock style knives kind of do. Can I reverse flick? Oops. Yeah. So pretty happy with the action. Let's check the ergonomics. Okay, yeah, not bad at all. Not really much of a choke up spot. You could put your finger up there. Pretty good jimping there. Yeah, not bad. The blade stock is very thin. Look at that. Very, very thin. I feel like this thing is going to be a very good utility cutter and very good slicer. One thing that kind of bothers me is it does not have full liners. If you look inside there, you might be able to see that they end about right here. And then this part of the handle is just the polymer. There's no liner, which I don't really like. I wish it was full liners. It just gives it a little bit more of a solid feeling. And you can see how we have a pretty good amount of flex on these polymer scales here. And that's more, you know, that's more of a kind of a pet peeve kind of thing, I guess. You know, this should be a you know, solid knife. I don't think the fact that they flex is really a structural issue. I mean, it is if you're, you know, really, really hard on this knife. You know, you plan on doing some crazy cutting with it, maybe. But for day-to-day use, it's not a structural issue, but it just bothers me. I like my knives to feel just, you know, like a heavy-duty tool is what I like my knives to feel like usually, unless it's a smaller knife. But you know, this is a full-size knife, so I feel like it should be a little heavier and it should feel a little bit more solid, is what I'm trying to say. Aside from that, action is good. Pocket clip looks like it's going to work fine. I wish it had flat screws on it, but, you know, what are you going to do? I do like the milling in the polymer. I think that's a kind of a cool pattern. I just wish this was at least G10, you know? In fact, if they sold G10 scales for this, I would probably go that way, that route. That way it would keep it nice and light, but it would just make it feel much more solid, I think. You know, I kind of wish the thumb studs were aluminum or titanium, some kind of metal. I also wish the tabs on the able lock here were aluminum or titanium. They're plastic. What is he chewing on now? Flooky. No. But I mean, if you're looking for a really lightweight knife for backpacking or whatever you're looking for a lightweight knife for, this is a really good option. I mean, it's super duper lightweight. You get a full size blade, MagnaCut, which is I haven't experienced it yet, but it's apparently kind of the best of a lot of different steels kind of put into one, with no real downside in any of the main categories. All steels have a couple of main kind of I guess you call them categories, attributes, I guess. You have toughness, corrosion resistance, and edge retention are the three main ones. And let me know if I'm forgetting one. But MagnaCut supposedly has high scores in all of those. And in a lot of different steels, they will score very high in edge retention, but not so great with corrosion resistance, or some other combination of that. But from what I hear, MagnaCut is kind of just a really well-rounded, really good steel. So I'm gonna put this thing to the test and kind of see how it does. I'll be curious to see how it does. Currently, I think the best steel in my collection right now is actually this S45VN on my PM2. This knife has the best edge retention of any of my knives, and that's partly because Spyderco just does an amazing job on their heat treatment on their steels. But S45VN is just badass to begin with, so I'll be curious to see if it beats that. We will see. We will see. I will let you guys know. I'll carry it for a week or longer, and then do a full review on it, so you guys can know. There's a lot of reviews on the Deka out there. This knife has been really popular, but maybe you want to hear it from my perspective. So there you go. You can watch my review on it too. That's about it. Overall, feels a little too cheap and plasticky. But you can always replace the scales, which I might do. And overall, I think it's a really good design. Ergonomically, it's comfortable. Very thin blade stock and thin at the edge. Very slicey. Nice kind of I wouldn't call it an aggressive Wharncliffe. Well, it kind of is. But this thing is just going to be a really stupid good utility cutter. Looks like a good clip. Good action. Yeah, I'd say overall, not too shabby. Sweet. Well, there you go. And there's the Kershaw Cinder as well. They kind of match. Doesn't it kind of look like a high-heeled shoe or something down here? I don't know. Anyways, cool. Thanks for watching. I have some bangers in the mail, man. I hope that the USPS gods are good to me, and I get speedy deliveries, because man, I got some cool knives on the way, man. I'm gonna have to not buy a knife for a little while after this, but oh boy, we got some good ones coming, folks. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Adios.